All right, hey everybody. Welcome back to AD Nightly, the daily weekday show that has had a nice 3 or 4 day weekend. Can't really remember. Been nice catching up on sleep and all that good stuff. Sleep is so great, people. Don't forget to do sleeping and really enjoy it when you're down there sleeping in your bed or maybe up there if you got bunk bed situation going on. That's fun. That's cool. Happy for you with your bunk beds, whoever you may be, listener. Sounds like you have a chill life about you. Great. Personally, I'm chill as well. Thank you for asking. If you'd like to donate to the Ben Fund, find me on Substack. Substack.benboquist.com, I believe, is how you get there. Just write a bunch of crazy, dumb stuff that's kind of, I don't know, like you don't even know what I'm talking about. Neither do I, but no. I wrote about ordination, I suppose, like in in the context of subordination, um, you know, coordination, and what have you, ordinances that are pretty important. Just I don't know. I feel like I do that sometimes when I just think of a word and then the etymology of it, and then it's just it really helps to know like every way which way that a word could go, what it means, what it means in society, and just all that kind of stuff. I think it's interesting, and I may have a weird way of writing and putting it out there, but I don't know. I think it's unique and somewhat maybe someone would like it, pay in some fashion for me to do it in some way for them. But that's all pipe dreams. 10 years in media, I just got this podcast, this 10-year-old podcast that I'm actually trying to be consistent with for the first time. So if you enjoy listening to it, I appreciate you for doing so. Here's our first story from sfgate.com. National parks have been ordered to police, quote, negative history under Trump directive. So that's an insane thing. Basically, this story is about the admin telling a I'll just read the story here. On May 20th, U.S. Interior Secretary Doug Burgum directed all park units to display the signs to comply with President Trump's earlier executive order, which claims that U.S. history has been distorted by ideology and seeks to counter what it describes as revisionist narratives that portray the country's past in a negative light. Burgum's order, which directs federal agencies and cultural institutions to remove any content that, quote, inappropriately disparages Americans past or living, and instead highlight the nation's progress and achievements. It also calls for removal of what is termed, quote, improper ideology from museums, monuments, and public exhibits under federal control. In a statement released in March, the American History Association, or AHA, condemned the order, defending the importance of historical integrity in public institutions and places. 36 other organizations who signed on to the AHA statement. Quote, the stories that have shaped our past include not only elements that make us proud, but also that make us acutely aware of tragedies in our nation's history. They wrote, quote, no person, no nation is perfect, and all individuals as a nation, learn from our imperfections. They added, quote, I'm not going to keep going on with what they said. And the opposing opinion here, quote, when the Trump administration tries to rewrite American history, it is the American people who will suffer the most. Pierno then also added Secretary Burgum should reverse course and rescind this order. The sites at risk of being affected encompass some of the most painful chapters in U.S. history, among them the Manzanar National Historic Site in California, which documents the incarceration of Japanese Americans during World War II, Sand Creek Massacre National Historic Site in Colorado, where U.S. soldiers killed hundreds of Cheyenne and Arapaho people in 1864, and to the Selma Montgomery National Historic Trail in Alabama, a pivotal landmark where supporters of the Civil Rights Movement marched to call for political reforms. These and other federally managed sites could come under heightened scrutiny as agents move to implement the directive. So, after I think everybody gets the gist of what's happening, it's more lip service. All you get is good and bad lip service from this industry, from this administration. It seems like, or really politicians in general. I think a lot of this stuff is grandstandy, and if you're a knower of history, you just understand that there's been a lot of bad stuff that has gotten America to where it is, and it's a little bit of this and a little bit of that. As far as I don't want to be super general about it, but when people really victimize themselves, that's when other people, i.e., the people who want to rewrite history without any of the bad light on America, which is pretty tough to do, honestly. The world was worse then, so maybe focus on that, how just the world was in general bad. So basically, when you point out bad history, a lot of people will just see that as victimizing yourself somehow, which it's dumb. And, I think we just need to be cognizant of telling the truth historically. And, they could go ahead and remove, it's kind of like people wanting to remove any statue. If a community accepts and has that, I'm not saying that, some statues don't deserve to be removed. There's definitely a few out there that have been. And, it's one of those things that like a community comes together and kind of my recent thing was about ordinances. So maybe work in that kind of fashion. Vote on whether you want what you want the plaques at the national park to say, not just every administration will put more, put less, put this, put that. Like, God, can we just? It's so annoying. I know we can't agree, but can we at least vote on stuff and then no one can complain? Keep the other plaques till they get voted back in, and then we'll put those. And if someone wants to take a picture of those plaques, and then maybe just remember what they said in the meantime of the plaques being switched back to, it's revisionist history one way or the other. So, is everyone really suffering that much with object permanence? I'm not. I feel like the same mind politically as I have been for many, many years, and I'm not changing. Not for nobody. Not for no amount. So thanks, SF Gate, for bringing that story to the forefront, much like this very fun story we're going to go over right now from the apnews.com. An Oregon man who quit his job to set sail with his cat arrives to cheering fans in Hawaii. How about that? You could rewrite that, but how could it get any better? Seriously, an Oregon man who quit his job to set sail with his cat arrives to cheering fans in Hawaii. Come on. An Oregon, or can I call him Oregonian? Or is that Oregonian man who quit his job at a tire company and liquidated his retirement savings to set sail for Hawaii with his cat, Phoenix, reached his destination Saturday, welcomed by cheering fans at the end of a weeks-long journey. Weeks long. More than that, I would think more than 7 days it would take to, from Oregon to Hawaii. That's crazy. Okay, the journey that he documented for his mass followers on social media. Must be nice. That's what you got to do, apparently. I think consistency speaks a lot. So I'm just going to keep trying to be consistent and comb my hair a little more. That might be tough coming up here. But Oliver Widger, who also was greeted by Hawaiian Governor Josh Green at the Waikiki Yacht Club on Oahu, acknowledged he was nervous facing the crowd, which included reporters. Widger said he was feeling, quote, really weird. Not seasick, but, quote, I just feel like I have to, hold on to things to not fall over. Yeah, I bet being on a boat for that. Okay. He became an online sensation with his story, which followed a diagnosis 4 years ago with a syndrome that carried a risk of paralysis and made him realize he disliked his managerial job. He quit his job with no money, no plan, and $10,000 worth of debt. The goal of buying a sailboat and sailing around the world. Hell yeah. He taught himself to sail mostly via YouTube and moved from Portland to Oregon, the coast. He spent months refitting the $50,000 boat he bought. He set sail for Hawaii with Phoenix in late April, documenting the experiences for his more than 1 million followers on TikTok, 1.7 million on Instagram. He said he thinks his story, which made national news, resonated with people. Kind of pissed at him just hearing about this now. Like, why wasn't this the only story? Come on. I think a lot of people, see, he said, quote, I think a lot of people are, you're grinding at your job all day long, and it doesn't really matter how much money you make at this point. Everybody's just trying to do enough to get by, and that just wears you out. He said, quote, it's just the world. The world's in a weird place, and I think people have seen that it's possible to break out. Green presented Widger with a proclamation. Fans swarmed Widger after the news conference, with many holding cameras and seeking selfies. So that's not too bad. Right here's the picture of the boat that he's got. That's not too bad. $50,000 boat, just got to be a manager, I guess, for a little bit. The scariest point of the trip came when a rudder failed, Widger said. Highlights included seeing dolphins and whales and periods of calm Pacific waters. Being in the middle of the ocean when it is completely glass in every direction was an absurd feeling, he said. Widger, 29, said he never truly felt alone since he was communicating with friends by means including video conference, but he also lamented not experiencing the open waters in a way that other sailors who didn't have access to tools like Starlink, internet satellites have in years before. He said he may travel next to French Polynesia, but he said he had been focused on getting to Hawaii and not what he'd do after he said he also needs to make repairs to his boat, single boat. Can I hitchhike on this dude's boat? That's my only one question now. I got a paddleboard. It's inflatable. I have to get board your boat to inflate it every once in a while too. That would be appreciated. But I mean, really, wow, living the dream. It is kind of part of it, part of doing whatever the fuck, is doing crazy shit like that. I thought, I'm saying a lot. I thought for a time of doing the van life thing. Oh my God, if you're watching the stream, I'm just fucking with my hair, and it's just not getting any better. But I was doing the van life thing for a while, and yeah. My van got run into really bad. But, things happen. People get told to turn in front of you, and you save them by quickly reacting to an accident situation. But, I digress. I'm not trying to I bring that up a lot. But sometimes you just quit your fucking job and get a $50,000 boat to sail around. Hell yeah. That's such a good feel good story. And just the title grabbed my attention. An Oregon man who quit his job to set sail with his cat arrives to cheering fans in Hawaii. Hell yeah, bro. It's like banana bread at work. And let's see. I've got, a couple more. Here's a fun one. On top of that, not necessarily fun, but, nature. From abcnews.go.com. Hawaii's Kilauea volcano shoots lava 1,000 feet in the air in the latest eruption. So Hawaii's Kilauea volcano put on a dramatic display Sunday night, shooting lava fountains over 1,000 feet into the air. The 6-hour eruption, which ended at 10:25 p.m. local time, marked the 23rd episode in a series of eruptions that began last December. According to the U.S. Geological Survey's Hawaiian Volcano Observatory, or HVO, the event started at 4:15 p.m. local time with thin jets of lava began spurting from the volcano's north vent. Within just 30 minutes, these jets transformed into towering fountains, reaching heights of over 1,000 feet, HVO said, close to the height of the Empire State Building, or roughly twice the height of the Washington Monument. An hour later, a second fountain emerged from the south vent, reaching heights of about 800 feet. According to HVO, the Hawaiian Volcano Observatory reported that the dramatic eruption produced a large lava flow that covered approximately half of the Haleema Uma'u crater floor. According to their measurements, the volcanic plume of the eruption reached heights of more than 14,000 feet into the sky. While the eruption might sound alarming, HVO scientists said there's no immediate danger to nearby communities from the lava. All activity remains within a closed area of Hawaii's Volcanoes National Park, and no unusual activity has been observed along other parts of the volcano. Awesome. Yeah, so that's always really, really cool, these eruptions. And, it's just like, it's kind of cool to think, like, that's how this whole place kind of got around here. To some degree, a lot of places, the volcanic places and islands, especially Hawaii, like, it's just been doing that for a long time. So, cool. Magma. Fun. This is AD Nightly. Thanks again for listening and watching. We'll be back talking about all the stuff. There's obviously a bunch of Supreme Court news and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to let that shake out. There's been a lot of stuff coming out. If you want to hear about volcanoes, this is the place to come. Usually bring that stuff up. Go read my Substacks. I'm going to go back to naming them just the date and then a quippy title. I don't need to be, seeming like I'm writing a thesis here or anything like that. It would be the randomness, opinions of the unfit or unqualified. Yes, overqualified, if I do say so. But I'm just not built for college, I guess. That's my thing. Whatever. Not everyone is. Hope everyone's cool, having a great week out there. Tomorrow's Thursday. We'll be back right here on AD Nightly. Thanks.